Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. This is part 2 of the last one. So if you didn't catch that and you want to talk with us about legal stuff, I have Ed here with me again today because he is an attorney and he is also part of the International Association or International Retreat Association, that's launching like their membership in about 2 weeks. So as you're seeing this, it might only be a week. And we think it's so important to have all the legal stuff set up that I just knew Ed it'd be more than one show. So we're going to chat for a few more minutes. Ed's really good with acquisitions and contracts and all the business stuff. So Ed, welcome back. Hopefully they're coming.
Thank you for having me, Holly. Happy to
Hopefully
be here.
you're listening to part 2 or you already listened to the first one or that you're new and go back and listen to it. We have lots of juicy stuff in there. So, okay. So sum up real quick, because I'm not reading your full bio in this show. Sum up really what your specialty is.
So I do business law, business advisory and law work. And that includes everything from forming and organizing your company or reorganizing your company. I have a lot of folks who have started their company and then need to change it a little bit in order to do something new, as well as, just doing any kind of contracts, any kind of advisory or strategy services, and mergers and acquisitions, helping folks prepare for an exit, prepare to acquire other companies and grow through acquisition, or prepare for and get their company sold.
All right, so that's kind of where I want this conversation to finish off, because a lot of people have a business. I teach people to add retreats to your business because you probably love what you do. You can really create a retreat business around any business. I mean, if you think about it, if you love what you do, what would it look like to be able to do retreats as an addition to that, to teach all your great stuff? So that's kind of what we were talking about in the last one. And now you love that. You've built it up. At some point, you're going to want to exit, right? More than likely, everybody wants to exit at some point. And that's your specialty. So what I want to know is if you're a retreat leader, and you were doing retreats and you wanted to eventually sell your business, what would a buyer actually be looking for?
That's a really good point. And that's one of the things in, not just retreat businesses, but every business, needs to be thinking about what are those core aspects that make your business sellable. And, some of it has to do with how well the business can survive without you doing it every day. So, there's kind of that, do I have a team? Do I have people who are able to, execute? Do I have, folks who are handling the operations or the logistics or those types of things? Another aspect of it has to do with, whether you've got systems in place. Do you have, a website where people are able to sign up? And is it, does it automatically generate agreements, or are you able to take, electronic payments? All of those types of things that make it so that it's not a manual business that depends upon what's in your head. If you sell your business and you go away, so does your head. So does everything that you know about it. Some of the other stuff has to do with, location, where the business is. It has to do with the types of products that you have. It has to do with your clientele. Do you have just one big customer? Do you have a lot of customers? Are you getting new customers every month? Is there a constant turnover? It also has to do with the repeatability or the scalability of your business. So if you've got one core product that you do all the time, well, that may be great, but if something happens and that is no longer something that can be offered, or it's not, so it gets old, so to speak. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, there's only so many times that you can go out there and do a particular thing before people go, yeah, been there, done that. Or, yeah, you know what, I heard my friend did that and it was great for them, but it's not for me. Whatever it is, you've got to have something that's kind of like a renewable loop. Sometimes I tell people, I'm like, Disney has what it calls the movie vault, and it'll put its movies out there, like classic movies, and you'll be able to go and get them for a period of time, and then they lock them up.
Yeah.
And they don't bring them out for a period of time, and people start to get anxious. They want those products again. And so that when it comes out, everybody's out there buying them, everybody's signing up to get them, and it drives constant demand, even though it's the same products over and
Over and
over again.
over.
And those are
Yeah.
some of the other things that companies are able to do. It also has to do with the brand, right? Things
Yeah.
that you have created that have value as well, where it's, hey, we have a particular brand, everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, right? Yeah, he's the guy, he's the brand. I don't know that Tony would actually be able to sell his business
Right.
the way
Yeah.
that it is
Not
because
that
it
he
means
needs the money.
so much. Not that he needs the money, but it's so much about him. However, I think he probably is able to put together particular products that other people would be able to go out
Yeah.
and, deliver. And those end up being sellable. So I have another person who does a business and he does tours. And, the tours are things that, they go because they're going with this particular individual.
Yeah.
But he knows that the infrastructure is there and he's got a team that's built up and he's got, equipment that is, staged and, that the tours could run themselves. He no longer has to do them all himself. That makes his business valuable. That
Yeah.
makes his business something that he can go out and sell.
So let's talk about IP, which is intellectual property, because that seems to be kind of, I feel like, in alignment with this that we're talking about. What would you consider for somebody that has a business that is also maybe doing retreats with it as intellectual property?
Intellectual property for the retreat business is going to be any of the kinds of materials that you've put together, any of the stuff that you're working with your customers on. That may be, as simple as a common a program guide, or it may be, a particular script that you use all the time. It may be the name or the branding or some kind of a logo that you've created for your retreat. It's the website and the website content. Any of the contracts that you put together is actually intellectual property that belongs to you because these contracts have been put together for your retreat business.
Right.
So those are yours. You own them and you know how much they're going to cost to get put together. Once you have those put together, when they're good, solid agreements that you're able to use over and over again, there is value to those agreements, even to somebody who's picking it up. Those are the systems that they're looking for. Can
Yeah.
I come in and can I operate this business even though the owner is going away? Can I pick this business up? Is everything in place? Do I have standard operating procedure books? Do I have, forms that are easy for people to fill out? Do I have websites that are all completely set up? Do I have contracts that are ready to be signed? That's all intellectual property.
Yeah. Especially if you created programs and things that, whether they're evergreen or whatever, that stuff that is sellable as a company. And I think a lot of people devalue that. I have, for an example, one of my kids owns a trucking company. He's paying a lot of money right now with somebody I connected him with every month to help his business be sellable. I mean, he's only in his mid 30s. He's got a lot of years ahead of him and he's a workaholic, but he's already had one company that he's exited, actually two now, two companies he's exited from. He's in his early 30s. Very smart kid, but he's smart enough to know that, hey, how do I make this scalable so that I can grow it without, he's got his hands in it a lot, but yeah, it'll be very
Oh, yeah,
sellable, right?
absolutely.
So I think creating that and thinking, I always think it's this thinking the end in mind and working everything backwards and figuring out a way when you do name your company, like I brand stuff under Holly Porter International. I'm probably never going to be able to sell that. But that's not why I created that.
Right.
It was just for my own personal coaching consulting at the time when I created it. And so it was
Mhm.
like, it was okay because again, Tony Robbins uses his name. He probably won't ever be able to exit that. But guess what? I know he has his hands in. Last time I checked, it was at least 60 companies. I bet it's more now. And look
Wow.
at Richard Branson. I mean, what they
That's
own.
right.
And it's like they own all this stuff. But each one of those things, do they need to be copyrighted? Let's talk about trademark and copyright and the difference
Mhm.
in those and like what kind of things need to be done.
So copyrights are basically for work that you have put together. It's a writing. It's a piece of it might even be like your jingle that you have. It is particular things that you have created. It's pieces of it's creative work that is set in some sort of a medium. And the medium might be that it's recorded, it might be that it's printed on paper, it might be that it's been published out onto a website. Somehow it is locked down, and that is something that you can get a copyright for. Copyright is something that says this is an original work and you can't use it unless you have my permission or you pay me for it. So that's when you would get a copyright. For other things, you would get a trademark, and a trademark is more of a like a logo, or a particular website, or it might even be like a service mark that you have. So have like Holly Porter International, but under Holly Porter International you might have had like, I'm just going to throw something out there, retreat specialists, and that you'd created like a retreat specialists logo or something like that. That's something that you trademark.
Yeah.
The key with the trademark, what trademarks actually protect for, is will the general public be confused if they see another one of these somewhere else? And a lot of times I'll tell folks, the case that we used to have to read in law school for it is Lexus versus Lexus. And that is LexisNexis, which is an information and a data company, versus Lexus, the Toyota luxury brand imprint. And LexisNexis, the data company, sued Toyota and said, you can't use that because people are going to be confused, and we already have that. And the court said, not only isn't it spelled the same, but it's super unlikely that anybody is going to say that the car and the data company have anything that's the same. So
Right.
there's no way that LexisNexis can tell Lexus Toyota, you can't sell a car called Lexus. So those are the kinds of things, it's, you'll have a copyright for the stuff that you create. Even your documents could be copyrighted. The website can be copyrighted. The trademarks are for the things that are, potentially causing confusion. That may be your logo, maybe your brand name, it may be a service mark that you have. And trademarks also are within particular categories that, it's used for. So like I said, LexisNexis, the data company, their trademark is within data products, information technology, that type of thing. Whereas Lexus, the car brand, is trademarked within automotive.
You explained that very well. I remember years ago, I've done real estate for 20 years. And so my brokerage was called Porter Properties. And I had it for, oh my gosh, I want to say like 5 or 6 years. And the state came back to me and said, you can't use that name because it's too close to something else, which I don't remember what it was. But we literally, after that many years, I had to change it, at least legally. I had to change it to Porter and Co. Company, or no, Porter and Co. Properties instead of Porter Properties, because it was too close to something else. And I thought, you didn't figure that out when I applied. I mean, it was just like that many years later. And anyway, it was frustrating, but you want to make sure.
Really important. That's really important also, is that, when you're choosing your name, when you're choosing the name for your company, you really do need to go out these days and look for what else is there. That includes potentially doing a trademark search on the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and just searching for your name. Do a very generalized search. It's free. It's not that hard. You go to uspto.gov and search for the name that you want to use and see what comes up. Same thing. There are other things where there's like, I think the website is called Name Checker.
Yeah.
And all it does is you put your name in and it goes out and finds things like if it's going to be on X, or if it's on Facebook, or if there's something used on, Pinterest. It finds all of this stuff and tells you whether your name is available or not. You do a URL search, go to GoDaddy or some other registrar and basically type in what you want to be able, see if it's already taken. Do all of those things before you settle in the state that you're going to organize in. You have to go check the Secretary of State, because there are state level trademarks and there are state level name reservations that you have to be aware of. If you're not checking those things, you may find yourself in that kind of position where it's like, hey, somebody sends you a cease and desist letter and you got to change.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Well, and I think just because you can go and get the domain and you're all excited because you own the domain doesn't mean it's really available, like to brand and to trademark and to copyright. So, okay. Well, so much information. We could probably have a whole nother show again, but I know you're busy and I know you got to get going. So we hope that everybody got a lot out of this and that we didn't scare you. We're really not hoping. That really isn't our intent. It's just be scared enough that you do it right.
I think that's a perfect message. You just need to know, what you should be thinking about, and that you should be getting the professional assistance that you need so that you can get it done right. On the first show, we talked about, the fact that, hey, if you don't do it right, you might end up in litigation. Litigation costs multiples of what you spend for the proper preparation up front.
And it's Ed's job as an attorney to shit all over you, right? He's the one that can tell you that, not me.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to see what people can do with this information, and stay tuned because Ed will be part of our association too. So hopefully you go check that out, and we'll have a link in the show notes how to get a hold of Ed. And he is a practicing attorney in Nevada. So are you licensed in any other states?
I'm also licensed in California.
Wow. That's opening up a can of worms. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. California is a much different place. Absolutely.
But there are a lot of laws that are general too, but we can learn all about that. So anyway, come and join us. Check out his information there in the show notes. Check out the association, and that launch will be happening. We'll be having a launch party, so we hope you join us. That'll be May 4th and May 6th. So anyway, until then, thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Holly.
Bye for now, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.